If you're new to the channel, my name's Dino, this is my partner Adam, and our fur baby Twyla. We love travelling in our Ford Transit camper van, travelling in our Jimny and doing tent camping, and occasionally staying at an Airbnb. So if you like free camping, paid camping, camping tips and tricks, camp cooking ideas, and the good old country bakery, you've come to the right channel. So if you like what you see, press the subscribe button and come with us as we travel Australia one town at a time. Now let's get into this episode. And on this week's episode, we are showing you the first 6 months of the year, all in one episode.
Yep, so it's just been a whirlwind. 2025 has flown. Like Dean said, 6 months here in this episode, and then next week will be the second 6 months, so the second half of the year.
We're going to get straight into this episode only because there is a lot to pack in. So, here we go.
And we're currently at Dromkeen Homestead, which is the Macedon Ranges.
And it's our very first hip camp. We've never done one before. We are in Riddells Creek, and it's not far from Melbourne at all. So this would be a great weekender away. You can come here, you can go through the app. That's the place there that we're staying. When we got there, we met the owner. She said we could camp anywhere in this paddock. We found a really nice spot, so I wanted to cook something delicious for dinner. And if you remember this episode, you know we got in a bit of strife. Wow, this is the first time this has ever happened. Oh my God. It's my barbecue's on fire. Sugar. Oh my God, look at this. Oh my God. What am I going to do? I need Adam. Adam, come help me. Adam. Oh my God, this could be so dangerous. Oh my God, move that away. Save the meat, most importantly.
Is that good or just...
Quick, just put it on. Oh my God. Oh my God. Looks like we're getting the fry pan out. That's the first time that's ever happened. I think it's because the meat's so fatty. Adam, get it out. Whew. Wow, now I know why Kmart doesn't sell those anymore. Anyway, Adam saved the day. I made a delicious salad. We got to eat and then went to bed to get up to explore the town the next day. And I almost forgot, check out this view. Before leaving in the morning, we checked out the gallery inside the homestead and then treated ourselves to a little bit of brekkie in the cafe. They allowed us to take Twyla into their sunroom to enjoy some scones and some beautiful coffee. Then it was off to the market, not to buy a fat pig, but to get something for our little piggy, Twyla. We found a place where we could get her some treats. She absolutely loved them. And they had plenty of other things, including chickens. You could buy a chicken, a chook, or a rooster from this market. It was a really cool bit of country market. And then we headed to the local park where we got to see the old Bluestone train bridge, which I assume that the creek that runs under it, maybe this is where they get the name, Riddells Creek. Who knows? But anyway, then we definitely did check out the bakery before leaving. Of course, we got ourselves some pies and enjoyed a delicious lunch. And on this episode, I'm going solo. I'm by myself. No Adam, no Twyla. And I'm here at Hamilton's Crossing. It's in Victoria. And this place is awesome. I had a theme to this episode. I was cooking with mushrooms. I did a dinner, a breakfast, and a lunch in this episode. So if you want to check it out, go back and have a look. This was what I dished up on the first night. A mushroom with pasta and white sauce. It was absolutely delicious. Then for breakfast, I whipped up something even better. But before I show you that, check out this view of the river that I had. How nice is it? Definitely enjoyed my coffee there. But I had stuffed mushrooms for breakfast. These were delicious. Also, before leaving there, I give you a full tour of the free camping spot. Then I take you into Malden to check out the bakery, to grab some treats for Adam. Also, I checked out a lolly shop and a few other shops. Really beautiful town. It's like stepping back in time when you're here. For lunch, I whipped up a salad. And guess what? Yes, it had mushrooms. And I had a side of chicken. I enjoyed eating this and making this in front of the old dredge. What a great backdrop that made. And I was even lucky enough to get to see the old steam train pulling up to the station.
So we're in Kilmore, just north of Wallen in Victoria.
And we've just arrived at our Airbnb.
Oh no, it's B&B.
Oh, B&B.
Yeah.
B&B. Get it right, Dino. So this is it here. We want to come back here one day because there is 2 of these next to each other. And there's a few things we didn't get to do in town that we would love to go back and do. We might even ask Laura and Rob to come back because it is a pet-friendly B&B. The rooms were built where the old stables were for this house. Look how beautiful the house is. It had its own kitchenette, and there was 2 amazing features in this place. One was the fireplace they had there, which we didn't get to use because it was a really hot weekend. And one of my favourites, it had a spa. That night we headed out for dinner at one of the local pubs, which was an Irish pub. It had outdoor seating, really delicious meals. And because we were outside, we could take Twyla, so it was pet friendly. That night I took advantage of that spa, and Twyla definitely wanted to hop in with me. She would not give up. In the morning, we headed down to one of 3 bakeries, and this was definitely the best one, I think, in town. It had so much variety, and we ended up getting some breakfast. The old Kilmore jail was one of the places we visited that we really wanted to go in, but it was closed for a few weeks, so that's one of the places we definitely want to get back to. For lunch, we ended up going back to the B&B because they left us the nicest hamper, technically probably meant to be for breakfast, but we decided to have it for lunch. Between lunch and dinner, we checked out a whole heap of wood carvings. I showed you my recipe, well, technically my mum's recipe for spring rolls, which I ended up cooking in the air fryer. They turned out magnificent. Before we left the B&B, we got to chat to the owner who told us a little about the history of the house, which used to be owned by a doctor, and they even had a morgue downstairs that she said she'll show us next time we go visit. Twyla definitely enjoyed walking around their beautiful manicured garden. We're here today at Nova Caravans. This place is huge, and we're here with Marty and John. Now, we've met Marty many a times on our episodes with Emu RV, and they've teamed up to make their vans. This was definitely a fantastic experience, getting John and Marty to take us around the factory, showing us from start to the end of making caravans and vans. We really learned so much, and this is the side of the caravan industry that we don't know too much about. So it was great to see from the ground up how they make them and how much care goes into them building these vans. They do an amazing job. The staff are amazing. We even got to meet a lot of the staff that were in the design side of it, on the floor, actually building them, doing the cabinet work. It was just a really great experience, and it was awesome to be able to show you guys at home what they do in the factories and how they go about making these amazing vans that we love. And we're lucky enough to meet Rob, the owner of Nova Caravans. What a great bloke, and what a great family business. So in this episode, we have arrived to Murchison, which is probably the most famous landmark in this town, is right behind us, which is their bridge.
Is it a landmark?
Oh, sorry, it's a bridge. It's not a landmark.
Oh, maybe.
All right, well, you comment down below what you reckon. Is it a landmark? Is it a bridge? It's definitely a bridge. So besides the bridge, the town had plenty of old buildings to check out and a few local shops we went and visited. But of course, a town visit is not complete for Adam, Twyla and myself unless we visit the bakery. They had such a large assortment of different pies, which were definitely mouth-watering. Adam was definitely feeling the heat after eating this pie. Check out the chili. After lunch, it was time to go find a free camping spot along the Murchison River. We found an entrance point, but then that's when everything went wrong. Our clutch looks like it just broke, and then all smoke started coming out. And, oh my God, this is not good. Oh, what? Oil's all leaked down there. Something's popped. There's oil everywhere. Oh, jeez. RACV time. Yeah. So that's what we did. We called RACV. They came out, they assessed. They said basically our van wasn't going to go anywhere. So they called for the tow truck. We had to wait not too long because we had Twyla. They were a little bit concerned being a very hot day. So they got a tow truck out and we decided to crack a beer while we were waiting since neither of us would be driving home. It wasn't long after we finished our beers, the RACV returned with their tow truck and took our white knight home for us to be fixed. I'm not going to lie, as it drove off into the sunset, I was very teary. But we weren't going to let that bring us down. We decided to ask our friends to come over for tea. I really wanted to try out my new barbecue that folded up into a little case. Check this thing out, it's so awesome. So our friends Laura and Rob came and Julie, and we cooked up some chicken and we had such a beautiful lunch, and it was a nice way to forget about our worries and enjoy some great food with friends. So whilst our van was getting fixed, we decided to go free camping in our tent, and we thought we found Australia's smallest camping spot, free camping spot that is. So we set our tent up. I got the barbecue we used the week before out again and gave it another go. I cooked the nicest piece of meat for dinner and we really enjoyed eating that before watching the sun set and heading off to bed. The next morning we woke up, I showed you around the campsite and then whipped up this delicious breakfast. Check this out. How good does this look? Then we packed our tent up and we headed into Gambier, where I actually finally show you where we actually camped. All right, so this is where we are right now, Gambier. This is where we camped last night. So if I can touch on that, like that, and then that brings it up. So this is it here. And it does have a lot of people complaining about it, saying it's not the best spot. And I can imagine in the wetter times, it would get very boggy, and that's what they're saying in the reviews. It gets really boggy, and you can see in this picture how boggy it can get. Look at that. After sharing that information, we took a walk around the lake. Adam found himself a lolly shop / ice cream shop. And of course, we treated ourselves and had a great old time, even though we didn't have our van. On this episode, we are doing a farm stay. This is obviously not the farm. We've popped into Warragul to grab something to eat. We wanted to grab some lunch, maybe check out a couple of shops, and then we'll head over to the farm stay and show you around and show you where we're staying the night. So this is the cabin that we stayed in. There was quite a few little cabins sprinkled over the property, but everyone felt like they had their own little private area. I really liked the fireplace that we didn't get to use because it was really hot. But one thing I did absolutely love was the beautiful bath they had. So I definitely took advantage of that. And because it was a hot day, we did take advantage of the pool that was on the property. This is a shared pool, but we pretty much had it to ourselves. And we really enjoyed our time having a bit of a swim and cooling down. After our swim, we checked out the farm. We got to meet all the different animals, from cows, there was horses, and my very favourite was the pig. He was a big black pig and he was very wiry, but loved him and got plenty of photos with him. That night we went back to the cabin and I whipped up something delicious for dinner. It was kind of like a Spanish dish with potatoes and it was absolutely beautiful. It even had Kransky sausage in it. So after dinner, I took advantage of that bath and I poured myself a glass of wine and really enjoyed it. We had an awesome sleep, and then in the morning I got up, made us coffees so we could go outside and enjoy the sunrise and revisit all the animals on the farm. Well, guys, we're doing something a little bit different this week. We still don't have our van, but we'll update you on that during the episode. During the episode. We have a little bit of an update.
But in this episode, we are currently in Warrandyte, which is the eastern side of Melbourne, and we're staying at the Crystal Brook Tourist Park. And the whole park is, I think the whole park's pet friendly.
Now, if you want to know what cabin we stayed in number 31, and we were still waiting for our van to be fixed, so that's why we chose a cabin. We take you on a full tour of the park in this episode, so if you're interested in staying, you can see all the powered sites, the different sized cabins, and all the features in the park, like the great swimming pool. That night for dinner, I whipped up an Aussie bolognese, which I used a canned soup to make. I don't know if you make yours like that. Adam definitely doesn't. And also, I show you how to make sizzler bread. This is delicious. So if you want the recipe, definitely go back and watch the episode. After a relaxing walk in the morning, we came back to feed the birds. Got to see kookaburras, rosellas, ducks, and a whole heap of other birds. And we got to feed them just right in front of the park. Right, so we've just arrived to Warren Glen. Now, this is a cafe slash nursery slash garden. So we'll go in and go check it out. This place was incredible. You walk through the garden shop into a Chinese garden that looked absolutely spectacular. And then we headed up to have a delicious breakfast with the view. It was so nice. And then afterwards we walked through more of the gardens and then came around the back of the garden shop to have a little shop around and check out if there was something we wanted to buy. From there, we went to explore the town and we found a lolly shop. Adam sniffed that out pretty good. They served ice cream and lollies. Then we headed to the local pottery gallery. It was great. They had a whole heap of different pottery from different potterers. And we even got to have a chat to one of them. So if you're interested in that, definitely go back and check this episode out. Then before heading home, we headed to the local bakery, which uses their original oven to bake all their baked goods, and they didn't disappoint. They had some great stuff there, including pies, pasties, and Adam even got a treat. It was very pet friendly, lots of seating outside, and then the Yarra River runs at the back of it, so you can have a nice stroll whilst you're eating whatever you've ordered. We are here at the Victorian Caravan Camping Supershow, and we're going to take you around today and show you some of the camper vans they've got on show. A lot of newness, isn't there?
Yes, there is. They're new. There's a lot of sites around, so we're spending some time obviously checking it all out.
We love going to the caravan camping shows and checking out all the newness and seeing different new features in all the different vans. We even managed getting a personal tour by Avita of their brand new off-road, yeah, you heard me, camper van that even comes with a snorkel. Plus, we visited the Emu RV stand like we always do. We said hi to Marty. He told us about his new features in his vans, and we walked you through them and show you around. Also, Adam and I worked at the show for the very first time. On the Saturday, Sunday, we volunteered a few hours to help people out who were just getting into caravan and camping. And the best part was we got to meet a lot of you guys. We had so many great conversations and we actually got a lot of photos with people that are subscribed to our channels, a lot of our regulars that we already know of on the live chat. It was fantastic and we had such a great day getting to know everyone on our stand, and we definitely would like to do that another day. And if you are looking for a van, these are great shows to go to see a lot of variety. It can get overwhelming, and that's where we like to film these episodes, so you can take your time and watch them back over and see things you might have missed and get a few tips along the way. We are ready to go out for our very first adventure in our van in quite a while.
It's been a number of weeks and we are now heading to the town of Wedderburn, which is around 2.5 hours northwest of Melbourne, just past Bendigo.
So our first place to stop for lunch was at the local pub that had an awesome piece of artwork of a kookaburra on the side of their building, and we soon learnt that the whole town was littered with this beautiful pieces of art, which we show you through the episode. But back to the food, we had palmies and southern fried chicken. It was definitely pet friendly because there was plenty of outdoor seating. We took a walk around town to burn off a bit of that food, and we come across this church that had the most amazing paintings on it. Native birds, and then right next to it, there was more paintings of birds. But wait, there's more on the side of the IGA building. This was incredible. All right, we've just made it to Hard Hill, where you can free camp. I can't believe we missed this one. Now, we didn't camp here. We did camp at a paid site, which I'll show you in a sec. But here, you can free camp and you can pan for gold. And also use a metal detector. They do have their big jamboree here. Jamboree, I think that's how you say it. And you can join in the fun looking for gold. Now, this is where we did stay, the Wedderburn Caravan Park. We give you a full tour of the park. It does have cabins. It's got powered sites, unpowered sites. There's wildlife. And at the back of it, there is a big dam reserve that you can walk around and do a walk. It is pet friendly, which is always good. That night for dinner, I whipped up nachos in the air fryer. They turned out the best. In the morning, we had breakfast at one of the local cafes where we had a delicious meal, and also it had art all over the wall. There was an artist that came in and decorated the whole walls. We did get to meet the artist, and he told us that he does sell Vegemite paintings. Yeah, you heard me right. He uses Vegemite, he waters it down and paints with it to do art, and it looked incredible. After lunch, we checked out one of the local museums that has a cafe attached to it. We had a great time there, walking through, looking at the old history. The museum was housed in the old general store. We can see it all set up like it was back in the day. And we also grabbed ourselves a pot of tea to have before leaving the museum. So if you're looking for a quick weekend getaway, definitely check out this town because you'll be quite impressed. So in this episode, we've arrived to Cohuna, and we are staying at this beautiful caravan park.
So we're staying at the Cohuna Waterfront Caravan Park.
We woke up this morning to one of the most beautiful sunrises, and we've got such a nice spot in the park. It was just absolutely beautiful. The caravan park has such great facilities, and we take you right through the park and show you around. My favourite, of course, was the pool. It was such a nice pool, and I got to get a little bit of a dip in. And probably the biggest feature of the park would have to be the fact that it is on the lake. And if you like water sports, you're definitely going to love this park. On the first morning, we headed into town. The best part about this was we could leave the van at the caravan park. Everything was in walking distance. Right next to the park was a beach that you could swim at. And there was also plenty of play equipment for kids to play on. They had a skate park. As you walk into town, make sure you take the time to get a photo with the Cohuna water tower. Check this out. Then we found this place called Waffles, where we indulged in some delicious waffles and got ourselves some coffees. We could sit outside with Twyla, so it was fantastic. And it was a really nice venue. Now, with all that indulgence, we thought we'd better go find ourselves a bit of a walk to go on. We did find one. It was right in the middle of town, and you'd walk straight past the water, green grass. Twyla loved it. And on that walk, we actually found a free camping spot that you can camp for 48 hours for free. And if you're lucky enough, you could even get yourself a campsite right on the water itself. We visited a local butcher to pick up something for lunch. We headed back to the caravan park to relax and have a bit of a barbecue. We got a text message on our phone saying there was going to be live music, so we went and enjoyed that for the afternoon.
Oh, Twyla wants to join in on the fun. There's cavoodles everywhere.
As it started getting a little bit dark, we headed back into town on foot to head to the local tavern where we picked up a few beers and enjoyed a delicious meal for dinner. This week we are in Daylesford. Now, where it's going to be a little bit different is this time we're staying in a villa, a gorgeous villa. The accommodation was magical with its fireplace in the living room looking out over the lake. And then my favourite part was definitely a spa in the middle of the bedroom. I thought this was a great spot where we can relax and enjoy the view, and even the shower had a view of the lake. How awesome is that? It had its own little private balcony, and we really enjoyed staying here. The first morning I thought, since we're right next to the lake, I'd go do my walk around it and explore the beautiful Chinese gardens. After my walk, we headed into town where we found somewhere for breakfast, and I tried a chili eggs. They were delicious. After breakfast, we did our street walk. We normally do this in Daylesford. We'll walk up and down, checking out all our favourite galleries and shops. There's so many different varieties of shops there that you can check out, from food and wine and different cocktail bars. There's restaurants, plenty of shops. We ended up booking in for lunch at the old convent, which is up on the hill in Daylesford. This place is an art gallery, a cafe, and you can walk the grounds. It's quite beautiful. They do weddings there. You can just walk through the gallery and check out all the local art. Once we finished up there, we ended up back at the accommodation where I took full advantage of the spa. I enjoyed it. I poured myself a glass of wine and just relaxed and sit back. It was beautiful, especially because it was still daylight and you could see the lake. For dinner, we headed back into town to the Daylesford Hotel, where they let us sit upstairs and enjoy our meals with Twyla, and we watched the sunset. The meals were amazing and we splashed out a bit. I actually got a steak and I loved it. The next morning, after enjoying another spa that night, I headed into the Mill Market. Now, the Mill Market is not pet friendly. They do have a cafe here, but the Mill Market is like a bazaar. It's a massive factory-sized place that has all little stores, all retro, secondhand, everything you can think of, from magazines to clothing to bric and brac. This was a great place to come if you've got friends and you just want to walk through and step back in time. All that shopping got us hungry, so we headed up to Wombat Hill. Now, if you have been watching our episodes for a while, you know we love revisiting Wombat Hill, which is in the middle of town, and you can literally walk through the botanical gardens. You don't have to book a table. Most mornings you get in if you go in early enough. They got breakfast and lunch. They do great breakfast pizzas. We didn't get a breakfast pizza that day, but we did get some very interesting food. I tried something a little bit different and I really liked it. Every time we go to Daylesford, on the way out on the Sunday, we always go to the Daylesford Market. They have some great food vans, and you know how much we love our food, of course. And then also they have some really good shops. And if you're after plants, veggies, honey, anything like that, you will definitely find it here. We really enjoyed our stay here. We did go a little bit over our budget, but it was worth it. All right, guys, I'm going to interrupt the episode for a second. If you want to see any of these episodes in full length, you can just go to our channel, scroll through until you find the episode, or you can, if you want to make it easier on yourself, go to Google, put King Dino's Adventures in, and then the name of the episode, and it should most likely bring it up. And guys, also, whilst you're on your phones, if you're watching this on your phone, please remember to hype the episode, give it a thumbs up, leave a comment. It all helps the channel grow. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. We hope you enjoy the rest of the episode. Now, guys, if you haven't already worked it out, this episode is about Vegemite. I'm going to be coming up with a whole heap of different recipes using Vegemite that you can make next time you go camping or even at home. This was definitely a fun episode to make. The first thing on the menu was a pasta. I had it with a Vegemite sauce, and surprisingly, it turned out all right. I filmed the episode up at Mount Franklin, which is one of Adam's and my favourite places to go camp, just to get away. It's up near Daylesford. It's in an extinct volcano, and in the episode, I give you a little bit of a tour, and I go for a bit of a walk before getting back into my cooking. The next thing on the menu was to cook something up for breakfast. And that something was Vegemite and cheese scrolls. So I cooked these in the camp oven and they turned out quite divine. And I ended up taking some home for Adam also. These also would be good for a snack when you're out camping. Next up was a Vegemite damper. Now you can't get any more Aussier than this. I also cooked this in the camp oven and it turned out a treat. Then I turned the famous Australian Vegemite into a marinade for some chicken, which I cooked on my new barbecue over coals, and they turned out fantastic. If you haven't seen this episode, definitely go back and watch it. I haven't shown you everything that was in this episode, so there's a few surprises there if you go back and check it out. So we have just arrived to the Victorian / South Australia border, and we're about to cross over. Well, our van's over there. We're just not quite there yet. We're heading to South Australia, and our first stop in South Australia is going to be
the town of Murchison, just under an hour, and we're looking at staying here for 1 or 2 nights.
On the way there, we stopped at Mount Gambier because you pretty much drive through it to get there. And this is definitely a great spot to stop, even if it's for a few nights, because they've got a few different things you can check out, like the Blue Lake also.
But where we are, there's 50-odd sites in the park. We're site 22, so it's near the amenities.
And nice green grass. See the green grass?
The caravan park's not far from town, so we're there.
That's where we are.
CBD's maybe 7 blocks away, 8 blocks away.
So the first morning we were there, we booked into the caves. Unfortunately, dogs can't go. It's not pet friendly. I think it's one and only. Wheelchair accessible caves, which makes walking in there quite spacious and really easy cave to get in and out of. It's not one of these ones where you go through narrow gaps. And it was so beautiful. I definitely recommend it if you're in town. It's only a short drive out of town. And on the way out there, we actually nearly ran over 2 emus. So watch out for the wildlife. Ant's Red Gum Gallery was up next, which was all wood carvings. And we actually got to meet Ant himself, who does all the carving. He does such a fantastic job. Unfortunately, Ant has had a pretty tragic life. The good thing that's come from it are his carvings. If you do get to meet him, he will tell you all his stories. They're all up on the board. You can see the history of how he came to be and his stories from his past. He does have them all on his wall, so if he's not there, you can still have a read. But it's a fantastic, and we definitely recommend you going there if you're in town. After that, we had heard that there was a museum at the information office, and were we surprised? This place was amazing. From the outside, it looked like it was so tiny, and then it was shed after shed after shed of different things, from trains, carriages, automobiles, clothing, artifacts, so many things that you could just go through there for hours on end if you wanted to, reading all the stories and checking out all the different things they have on display. We really enjoyed our time here, and they even let us take Twyla in, which was great. After all that exploring, we were quite hungry for lunch, so we headed down to the swimming lake, which is right next door to the caravan park. The caravan park actually runs a fish and chip shop there. Now you can swim in this lake. It's got fenced off areas. They've got deep parts, shallow parts for the kids. It's even got a bit of sand. So we thought we'd get something to eat, and then I'll take the plunge for the channel. This was definitely a fantastic choice of starting our getaway to South Australia. This town was awesome, full of hidden treasures waiting for you to go visit on your next trip. So we've just arrived to Victor Harbour, South Australia. If you like coastal towns, you're definitely going to love this one. First thing we did in the morning was headed to the information office, where they let us know what we could do with Twyla and what we couldn't do. There was quite a bit we couldn't do with Twyla, so if you are travelling there with your dog, you will have to do things one at a time. But we did have our accommodation, which is pet friendly, which I'll show you in a second. We went to the bakery in the morning, where it looked like all the food was on steroids. You should have seen the bee sting I got. It was huge, and it was delicious. One thing this town is known for is its horse-drawn trams. that take you across to the island, which isn't pet friendly, but we were going to do this one at a time. But unfortunately, when we were there, because of the algae and stuff in the water, it was affecting the horses, so it was off the table. So we'll definitely have to go back one day to check that out. It was definitely a great town just to walk around, explore. We walked along the beach where it was safe to do so for Twyla, because we knew about the algae. We didn't want her to get affected by it. She loved it. Now it was my turn to go explore the island. I had to do this by myself because obviously it wasn't pet friendly, and that was because they had penguins, birds and other animals across the island that were protected. So I headed across there. You could see the train tracks that go across, and where the horses do turn around, you can walk right around the island. I unfortunately only got to see birds. I was hoping to see some seals or dolphins or even the penguins, but that didn't happen. But it's a fantastic walk. I did do it a second day also. I did it in the morning the next day, but I really enjoyed that walk, and I definitely recommend it if you go there. So we stayed at the Victor Harbour Holiday and Caravan Park, which was pet friendly. It was a g'day park, and it had everything you need. We weren't there quite long enough to have a dip in the pool, but if I was there a little bit longer, I definitely would have, and they had such great facilities. Especially if you've got a family, they're going to love this. Now, the Caravan Park is in walking distance to the main part of town. There is plenty of places to eat out around town. Nino's was one place that we ate breakfast at, and also we ate at the Victor Harbour Hotel, which had some great meals too. Just check out this mouth-watering steak, medium rare pepper sauce. Beautiful. Well, guys, we've hit Adelaide. Here we are, and we're staying at an Airbnb in the CBD. It's pet-friendly, and we thought we'd start this off at...
So we're at Glenelg Beach on the south edge of the city.
Adam, Twyla and myself have been here before, and we loved it. And I definitely wanted to get a little bit wet, go hop into that water. But we'd gotten that there at lunchtime and was starving, and I really felt like Mexican. We found an awesome Mexican restaurant just back from the water, and they even let us take Twyla up onto the balcony. They had the best food, and we just really enjoyed it. Adam got a mocktail, I got a cocktail, and we had a great lunch. After lunch, we headed back to the beach, where Twyla got a little bit wet, and myself, I finally went in and went right under and got completely wet. We had a great time and really enjoyed our time on the beach. From our Airbnb, we're probably a 30-minute walk into right in the middle of Adelaide City. So that's what we did that night. We headed in as the sun was setting, looking to somewhere easy, quick to eat. And we did find a really nice place, and we enjoyed the food there. It was very Asian inspired. In the morning, I headed out on one of my walks around near the Arts Centre and their cricket ground. This place is fantastic for a walk. Everyone gets out early in the morning. You see people rowing, jogging, running, and it's just a really nice spot. I even walked through a bit of the botanical gardens. When you look up best things to do in Adelaide City, the Japanese gardens always comes up, so we wanted to head in there. So we walked down. It was really, really close to our accommodation, so we could walk there and have a walk through. Twyla was welcome. You just had to be quiet. We went to the botanical gardens. They had a exhibition there at the time, so you could walk through and look at it during the day, but at night it actually lit up and you paid to go see it. But the only thing was, it wasn't pet friendly. But definitely the favourite part of the park for me was seeing the bats. For lunch, we headed across the road from the botanical gardens and went to Golden Boy. This place was really nice, and especially indoors, but because we had Twyla, we sat outdoors, but we had it all to ourselves. The food was incredible, and we got ourselves a few drinks and just enjoyed the warm weather and being able to sit out with Twyla eating. We've just arrived to Burra, South Australia.
And we're staying at the Paxton Square cottages. So these cottages used to be for the mining region back in the 1880s.
Now, the cottages are across the road from the caravan park. Unfortunately, they were totally booked out. This place is popular. So that's why we ended up taking one of these cottages. But now looking back, we definitely don't regret it. It was like stepping back in time. Let me quickly take you on a fast forward tour of where we stayed, and then I'll tell you all about the town. So as we were travelling, I found out about this town, about a key that you can pick up from the information office. They give you a booklet. You pay for the key for 48 hours and it unlocks doors to the past all around town. So this is the first place I went to with the key, and I unlocked the gate, and this took me into the miners' dugouts built back in 1850. Because it's a self-guided tour, you can just walk around at your own leisure, check everything out. You just make sure you lock the gate on the way out, and then you head off to your next place. They give you a map so you can see where you're going. It has information in the book that they give you. Plus they have plaques that you can read. You can see the mining equipment. You can see where they pump the water into to get it out of the mines. These are the old pump stations. It was really interesting. Then there was the Unicorn Brewery, which was, a lot of it was underground. You could go down and see where they used to keep the kegs of beer down underneath in tunnels. It was very, very interesting. And then talk about eerie, check out the old jail. Again, you get the whole place to yourself, got your key, walk through the gate, and it was quite eerie. One of the cafes in town held a Indian night where they made Indian food, and we went to it and the whole town turned up. It was like such a special occasion. They had 3 different pubs. We decided to eat at this one. It had heaps of seating out the front, which faced onto the town. Beautiful. You can watch the sun go down while you're eating your dinner. The meals were quite large and delicious, as you can see here. Well, in this week's episode, we have hit Clare Valley. It's awesome.
We're in the town of Clare.
Oh, in town of Clare, yes.
In South Australia.
Our first stop in town was at Mr. Mix, where we got an outdoor seating. They had live music. We got some delicious food. They were really good. They took care of Twyla. They gave us some water. And the weather was perfect. It was a great first place to stop. We're at the Clare Valley Caravan Park. It is pet friendly, and I'll take you in and show you around. The caravan park had everything you needed. If you're traveling with kids, I wouldn't recommend this park. You're probably better off going to the Big Four, but if you're traveling like us or with friends, this is a perfect place. There was a courtesy bus that could pick you up from the caravan park and take you to Seven Hills Hotel, where we had a beautiful dinner and some delicious wine. The next morning, we drove out to Seven Hills Winery, and we learned about the history of a church that was on the property, and also the history of how Mary MacKillop was linked to this property. We could take Twyla, but the only thing is we couldn't do the tastings with her. So I went in and sacrificed myself and had a tasting. After the tasting, we headed to Martindale Hall. This was such a grand building. Again, it wasn't pet friendly, but we just took it in turns. You can go inside, pay a small fee. They give you an information sheet and you can walk around and explore the house by yourself. Every morning, I got up nice and early to do the rail trail. You can stop at wineries along the bike trail, towns. I stopped off at a town, got ourselves some coffee and something to eat, and then walked back to the caravan park, and Adam reaped the awards. Welcome to Kapunda. I hope that's how you say it, and I apologise already if I've said it wrong. Supposedly, this is one of Australia's most haunted towns. Yes, you heard me right. How scary. The first place we went to was this church, which now has been converted into a museum. The building was full of donated items that take you back in time about the history of the town and the surrounds. There was so much to look at. Even the building itself was so interesting, getting to walk down and go down into their basement where they had a lot of doctor's equipment, and it was quite eerie at times, but it was a fantastic place to start our visit to the town. Then we headed to the local mine, which is still a little bit active. They do have people still going down into the mines itself. And it is also a park scattered all around with information boards that you could read and learn about the history. And the best part, this was pet friendly. I definitely enjoyed was doing a tour of the town. You can get a map that takes you around and tells you about all the different buildings. There was so many different churches. And also they had an art trail, which was really great. Talk about bad timing. The pub had closed the day before we got there, and they were the ones that did the ghost tours because their pub was meant to be the most haunted place in town. So unfortunately we missed out. So hopefully one day we can go back and it's opened up again to do the tours. Now, if you know Adam and I, you know we like to go see all the big things around Australia. They actually had a big miner here dedicated to all the immigrants that came over and did the mining. The last place we visited in the episode was the cemetery, which had some horrific stories. If you want to learn about all this, they do have a pamphlet at the information office. We didn't go right into it in the episode due to the nature of what had happened. In this episode, we just arrived to the Barossa Valley.
Yep, and in true Barossa Valley style, we're actually now at the Maggie Beer farm shop.
What a great way to start this adventure. You can walk through the farm shop. You can purchase different products like wine, food, cookbooks. And then also we ordered something to eat that we could sit out on the deck with Twyla and have a bit of a cheese platter. And we had some non-alcoholic wine. After lunch, we took a walk around the lake. Then we checked out some of the pheasants. And then we saw some of her fruit trees. Other places we visited was the chocolate factory, where we actually had breakfast. They had a really large outdoor area where we could have Twyla. She could run around. We could order one of their tasting platters and have some coffee and toasties. Gully Gardens.
Yes, dried fruit galore, Australian made.
On the farm, they had a shop there. You can purchase some of their dried goods. You can see how they do dry them out. Adam shopped up a storm and even purchased some gifts for some people we know. Then it was time to go to Two Hands Winery. This winery lets you sit up on the deck, do a tasting, even with your pooch, and it had plenty of outdoor seating on the green grass. We really enjoyed their wines and their hospitality, and we ended up with a cheese platter, and which was very delicious. The next day we went to First Drop Wines, where they serve a whole variety of different wines from around the region. It was really fantastic venue, indoors and outdoors. Twyla, of course, was welcome. We did a tasting. There was a few different tastings you could select from. Then after 8 tastings, we ended up with another platter, a lot of olives and a lot of meat. We had so much fun with the staff. We were laughing and they were just so entertaining, and we really enjoyed being there. In this episode, we have just arrived to Loxton.
And that's obviously South Australia.
South Australia. Well known for their large pelican and their mighty river, which we were staying on. This was our site. Now let me take you up the front of the park. Welcome to the Loxton Riverfront Caravan Park. The caravan park was split up in 3 sections. You had the bottom section, which we were staying in, the middle section, and then the top section, which was faced onto the river with cabins also. Yeah. We ate at the Loxton Hotel for dinner. Twyla was all rugged up so she could sit outside with us. The meals were great, and we ended up coming back here to eat breakfast another day. I got up every morning to go for my morning walk. The views of the river were spectacular from the back of our van, so we enjoyed them in the mornings. Okay, we are first starting off at the Loxton Historic Village. This is pet friendly and it's about $12 an adult. This was definitely a great experience, walking around, checking out all the old buildings and the history. Some of these buildings had been relocated to the place. Some of them were built for purpose of, showing the history of the town and the surrounding areas. But all in all, it was a great little spot to come check out, and we really enjoyed our day here. They had their own little mini silo art tour you could do. You just walk amongst the garden and visit all these beautiful pieces of artwork. And then not far from there, you had another walk where they had a whole heap of wood carvings you could check out. We have just arrived to Burra, South Australia. And let me first show you where we're staying. So welcome to Berry Riverside Holiday Park. The park was literally a 5-minute walk into town, straight across from the river, and had so many activities you could do, including a kiosk, a pool, you name it, they had it. Great for families and a really awesome park. Even though it was closed, we got to see the Big Orange. So that was another big thing ticked off our list. Where have we come now?
So we're now at Malleefowl Restaurant.
Now, this place is not far from town, and just drive out to it. It was so quirky. It actually reminds me of my little brother's old garage that he had. He used to have, you know, all the metal on the walls and all the signs and street signs. And yeah, so look, check out this bar. It looks amazing. And got to speak to one of the old owner's sons who still works here. Now, they've got a great menu for food. They've got drinks. And you can even go out the back and visit all their animals they've got living on the property. So if you're in town, definitely check them out. On the way back, we checked out the water tower. This is free to go check out. You just walk up the stairs. We took Twyla with us. We checked it out. Great views of the surrounds. And with all those stairs, what a great way to get a little bit of exercise in. On my morning walks, I was saying hello to all the pelicans across the river. Pretty much right next door to the caravan park was a hotel that we could go eat at. They let us sit outside with Twyla and we had some delicious meals. On another day, I went for a walk and checked out some red cliffs. This is something that Twyla couldn't come along to, so I did the walk myself, but they look pretty amazing. We've just arrived to Wentworth in New South Wales on the Victorian border. One of the first places we definitely wanted to check out was the bakery. They had some great food there. And also it was Easter time, so they had a bit of an Easter display there where we took some photos of Twyla. She did such a good job. She was such a good girl, and the photos turned out really cute. Then we headed to the Military Museum. I love visiting these places and learning about the history of Australia at war and just all the sacrifice that goes into people fighting for our country. They gave you headphones so you could learn about all the history, learn about what was there in front of your eyes. They had some amazing displays, and Adam and I really enjoyed our experience here. Now, I have been to the Wentworth jail before, but I definitely had to go back there to put it in this episode since we're featuring everything from Wentworth itself. The jail is awesome. It's a self-guided tour. Pretty much they give you a map of where everything is. You walk around, they have information boards, and there is so much to look at. If you've got kids, they would love coming here. They'll probably want to be locked in one of the cells. But there's plenty to see and plenty of history. Then just across the road, there was the Pioneer Museum. Now you can get cheaper tickets if you go to both. So ask about that. We learnt the history of the Possum Man. Now this wasn't just a myth. This was a real live person. And if you want to know the story, definitely watch this episode back. There's a lot to take in, but it was an incredible story. But besides Mr. Possum Man, there was a lot to see in the Pioneers Museum. Now, just out of town, we were told to go visit the desert. And we're like, the desert? It was literally a desert in the middle of nowhere. There were these weird, fruits growing that looked like little watermelons. They were kind of cute. And then we heard about the God tree, which was basically a tree that was covered in a sand dune, that when you were in it, you were actually standing above in the bushes because the trunk was all buried underneath. Definitely a great spot to get some photos. So in this episode, we were driving from Wentworth back to Melbourne. So we just filmed what we saw along the way. We just filled up. All right, our first stop is Woody's Gem Shop. This is in Mildura. Now, if you've been watching us for a while, you'll know that Adam and I have been here before with our friend Monica. They both clean the shop out. They have such beautiful stones there, and they have it made into jewelry. You can actually see them make it. I definitely wanted to buy something, so I got my friend and myself one of these bracelets. Our next stop was Salt Lake, And there was a lot of information about Lake Trurul, which is a pink lake, but we've been out there before, so we gave that a pass, but there's some pictures of it. Also, we loved a lot of the art sprinkled around town on the sides of the buildings. We did grab some lunch from the cafe with the art on it. Probably the biggest highlight was checking out the silo art along the way. There is so much of it, and now some of them even do projections on the side of them. Definitely recommend if you go to an information office to get yourself a flyer, and they tell you where these are all scattered around Victoria. We're staying at an Airbnb where are we staying?
In Ocean Grove, so that's probably 25 minutes from Geelong.
So the Airbnb was a mud brick home. We hired this for the Easter long weekend with friends. It was fantastic. We all had our own rooms, had a large bathroom, had an awesome dining area. We did cook a lot of meals on this weekend. I'm just doing a quick fast forward tour so you can get an idea of what we stayed in. Had a fireplace. It even had a room upstairs that Lefern ended up staying in. It almost reminds me of a cubby house. You know, I think if you stayed here with your kids, they would love it. They'd all want to sleep up in the attic, because it was such a cool little room. Also, the Airbnb was pet friendly. We had Dusty there, Twyla there. All our friends that have been on episodes were there, like Lefern, Laura, Rob, who helped cook one of the meals one night, and Julie, who wanted to show us her new Jetstar comfy tracksuit that she won in a competition. How awesome is that? She definitely modelled it very well. In the backyard of the Airbnb, they had this huge pizza oven, so Adam and I thought we'd take full advantage of it and make some pizzas for us to enjoy for entree before Adam and I whipped up a delicious pasta dish for everyone to have, and it was just great sitting around together and just spending that time. Lefern was my walking partner in the morning, so every morning we got up and did massive walks, and then went back to get the others to go on a secondary walk. We loved seeing the sunrise and grabbing ourselves a sneaky coffee. Dusty and Twyla made friends with a whole heap of corgis that walked past every day on their morning walk. We hit the local shops and had a look around, and the girls definitely shopped up a storm. We visited Flying Brick Cider & Co. This place had plenty of grass for kids and dogs to run around. It was pet friendly. We got a seat and ordered some food. We didn't book, and the weather was absolutely perfect. Although at one stage it did start raining randomly and everyone ran in from outside, but the rain cleared and we enjoyed our rest of our day there. Twyla really loved running around on the green grass next to the vineyard. On the last night, we thought we'd have a night off from cooking. We got takeaway and we tried a bottle of wine that Adam and I brought back from South Australia. There's definitely never a dull moment when we're with our amazing friends. Well, there you go. 6 months rolled up into one episode. We told you it was going to be huge.
Yeah, very well, we did 1 hour.
Yes, it was 1 hour. And we hope that you can join us next Sunday for the next 6 months. And Adam?
As always, don't forget, guys, if you like the episode, subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. You can also hype through your mobile phone as well.
And guys, if you are heading out on the road this Christmas, please be safe and have a very Merry Christmas. See you guys.
See ya.